Welcome everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Trisetta Alexander and I am a business productivity coach and strategic consultant to small businesses, nonprofits, and ministries. And I am serving as the interviewer for the UPHS annual conference presenter interview series. And I am excited today to have with me Cesar Matthews. So Cesar, welcome today. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It is my pleasure to have the opportunity to sit down and chat with you because you are one of the presenters for the 2020 Conference for Excellence in Nonprofit Management and Leadership that the United Partners of Human Services does. And the topic that you're going to be speaking on, or you're actually helping to facilitate a open discussion. And it's such an important topic. But before we get into the topic and why it's so important, I'd love for you to share just a little bit about who you are and how you became, why you decided to be a presenter for the conference.
Yeah, okay, awesome. So again, my name is Cesar Matthews. I am a fourth year teacher, but I'm starting my second year at Pace Center for Girls in Leon. I'm the English teacher here. Outside of that, I'm a first year graduate student at Florida State's, getting my master's in public administration. I'm a part of the New Leaders Council, Tallahassee chapter, class 6, and I also have the honor of working with Mayor John Daley's LGBTQ advisory board. So I'm just happy to be a part of something like this. As a teacher and as a transgender man, it's really important for us to have these conversations about culture and equity and inclusion in nonprofits of different types all around, the city of Tallahassee and the Big Bend area, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we dive into the topic, I want to say, we share a love for PACE. You're currently working at PACE, and I actually did my internship when I was a student, a social work student for Thomas University. So I have a heart for PACE because, like we say, once a PACE girl, always a PACE girl. So I am a PACE girl through and through. And so it's just an honor to have an opportunity to connect with another PACE person.
No, I appreciate it.
Anywho, so you hinted at what you're going to be sharing about for the conference. So tell us what the topic is, the table topic that you're going to be helping to lead a discussion on, and why is this topic so important?
Yeah, so Janelle Diaz and I will get to facilitate the post discussions of the culture, equity, and inclusion track of workshops. These workshops are going to be talking about LGBTQIA policies and procedures, addressing the racial gap that exists within nonprofit management leadership, and then really what does it mean and how do you create an inclusive and a diverse culture in your nonprofit or really any workplace setting. I can speak for my own personal perspective. Like I said, I'm a teacher, and there has been a lot of conversation and rhetoric surrounding should trans people be in the classroom, and then should they be out and open within the classroom. And so I've been very privileged to have found a place in PACE where my local center and all the other 20 centers across the state and now Georgia really have made that push to not only do right by the students that come in, but also for anyone who wants to work here, developing them professionally and also developing everyone's personal, worldly understanding of different identities and how they're impacted in different ways. So I just I think I'm just a testament to what the possibilities and the potential can be of when we do right by just allowing someone who has the the criteria and the desire to work into really any place that they want to work at, truly.
Yeah. It's like you said, it's such an important topic, and I don't think that we give the focus and attention that we need to disenfranchised groups. And whether it's intentional or unintentional, I think a lot of times it's the unintentional things that we do or don't do that hurt the most. Would you mind sharing maybe one of your own personal experiences or something in general, like what can happen to people from the I always mess it up, LGBTQIA.
Yes, ma'am.
Did I get it? I got it. Okay. All right. It's a whole lot. It grew since I first, it has grown in initials over the years. And so what can happen to a person from that community when they aren't included?
Yeah, and I honestly, I'll probably start with the acronym. I think that's a really good, like, I guess, like baseline to start off, because as the years have progressed, the acronym has grown. And so too has our understanding of the community, the different dynamics, and the different intersecting other identities that play a role into it. And so when you look at like just the statistics and the reality of it, like there are a lot of implications, whether we intend to or not, that can be like the burden can be felt by those queer and trans individuals of the community. I know for me, before I was able to come back to Tallahassee and teach, right after I graduated, I moved out to New Orleans. And I enjoyed it. Beautiful, great city. I've always wanted to be a teacher. That's something I was very determined to do so. But even still in that environment, like there were like stipulations to how I could behave. And like, it's always like this rhetoric, like we accept you, but then once you start to obviously be yourself, it's like, whoa. There are certain levels to what we will accept. And so those implications really can, hinder someone's own personal progress. And then you look at the community as a whole, like you're talking about social consequences, political consequences, economic consequences, like perpetuating the cycle of poverty, perpetuating like all these negative things that need not to exist. And really it's just as an organization or one person stepping out and saying like, hey, like what we have been doing, we haven't been addressing this community, or maybe we have been addressing this community and we were just too, one like very narrow focus of what this community looks like. Because like I'm a Black trans man, and so there are things that we have to talk about when it comes to my transgender identity, because I am still Black. But I'm a man. I walk into a room. I don't have to deal with certain stigmas like I did prior to my medical transition and my surgical transition. So for me, that means now that I'm in this space and I'm able to be the young professional that I want to be, what am I doing to push not only myself, but the people that I work with and people that surround me, to ensure that like, just because, we say we have Cesar Matthews working for us, like I'm not the only trans person, and my experience is my experience. We're not a monolith. There are too many facets that you have to recognize. So it's really just being, taking a step from like, okay, were we not talking about this, and how did we make our plans, very intentional and very thorough in regards to the community?
Yeah, and I think that you brought up a really great point just there at the end, that your story, your experience is your experience. We are all individuals, and whether we look alike or not, our experiences can be very different,
Yes.
Yet still have some of the same themes woven in them. And so it's really important for this conversation to take place, and so that we can kind of break through some of the stereotypes that people have, especially the negative stereotypes that people have, so that we can have real conversation, and impact real change. What is the number one thing that you anticipate people taking away from this discussion, that you're going to be facilitating for the conference?
Yeah, so the number one thing I would hope that they take away is something that they can do immediately, because the information that they're about to have in this workshop is some great information, and it's going to be very dense. It's going to challenge them, because these are people who are in leadership positions, striving to be in leadership positions. And so we're in this 2020 world where progress has to be made. And if you're not willing to make those steps immediately, then like, where are you checking yourself? So I will hope that after their workshops and after the tabletop discussion with Janelle and I, they can leave saying like, oh, I can walk out of, or I guess click out of the conference, immediately doing this in order to show my support of allyship, or my a sign of change within the building, or even just like wanting to check yourself. I think a lot of it, especially when we're talking about the queer and trans community overall, a lot of it is checking your own personal biases, recognizing if you have been, negative, if you've had any conscious biases, whether you like wanted to or not, and really analyzing yourself and wanting to understand, how do I play a role, whether it's in a positive light or a negative light.
Yeah, so much. Oh my gosh, so much meat in there. So there'll be some really positive and great takeaways that people will walk away from that discussion with. I want to give an opportunity, in case there is anyone watching this live or who will go back and watch the replay, an opportunity to connect with you in the event that they want you to come and present to their organization or their event on this very important topic. So what's the best way for people to connect with you?
Yeah, so the best way you can connect with me, you can either at the trans teacher on Twitter, where I'm still kind of building that one, but email or LinkedIn might be better. But this is something I really care about, not only for professional adults, but also with youth. A lot of the stuff that I'm able to do in my classroom has, I'm an English teacher, but as part of being the English teacher, I need to expand the world for my girls outside of these four walls. So if you have any conversation, if you have any topics that you like to discuss, whether you just want to sit and brainstorm, you want me to come in and work with you all, email me, find me on LinkedIn, and I'll be more than happy to.
Okay. Give us that information. You froze up for just a moment as you were preparing to share the best places to connect with you. And I heard something about Twitter. So
Yeah.
it was right before that you froze. So tell us again.
All right. So you can contact me best through email, Cesar, CESAR, .Matthews, MATTHEWS, @pacecenter.org. Or you can find me on LinkedIn, Cesar Matthews, and then at the trans teacher on Twitter.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Cesar, so much for joining me today and having this very important chat and discussion. For those of you who are watching this and are interested in joining us for the 2020 UPHS Conference for Excellence in Nonprofit Management and Leadership, virtual edition, thanks to COVID-19, you can do so by visiting uphsfl.org/annual-conference. I'll make sure that I add the link to that into the description of this post so that you can just click it and you don't have to try and type it all out. But we would love to have you join us, whether you are a member of the UPHS organization or community or not. There is member pricing as well as non-member pricing. And because we've gone virtual this year, you can join us from the comfort of your home office or office from anywhere in the world. So I definitely encourage you to join us. So thanks again, Cesar, for interviewing with me, being my guest today. And we will see you all again here shortly. In just a few minutes, I'll be interviewing Bill Wilson. So come on back and join me for that interview as well. Bye-bye.
Thank you.